You know what I mean? I'm still holding up my torch and saying choosing second still ain't gonna work, but we gonna let him have what he gonna do for now. Okay, but I want to get you guys' thoughts. What do you guys think of Zack and Bliss's union at the moment? They didn't really ask them much questions, but what was your thoughts on their union so far? A year later. Go for it,
Um,
Alpha, yeah.
they seemed happy. They seemed happy. I'm similar to you, Kojo. I'm not the biggest fan of the whole second choices thing. In my experience, it typically ends in disaster. But they seem like they're trying to prove that wrong. We'll see how that goes. But they seem happy. It seems like he's become a bit more confident and comfortable with himself, and the fact that I'm a little bit of a different dude. I'm a little quirky, and it's okay. There's somebody that loves my quirky self. So they seem like they're doing good. I just hope I hope she's really let her insecurities about being second choice in front of the entire world go. Because I know I had a Vanessa moment. I had a situation similar to that with my ex, and it would pop in my mind occasionally, just to be very honest. Occasionally it would pop in my head, kind of like, yeah, but you was talking to old girl when you first, like, it would pop in my head occasionally. So it's like, I'm just hoping she's done the work to be able to really push that out of her mind. If she has to bring it to him and say, give me the nitty gritty on exact, I'm hoping they've talked about it and gotten to the nitty gritty of that situation, so they have been able to fully put it to bed and put it to rest. If they've done that, I think it actually might work. If they haven't done that, it will come back to bite them. That's my opinion.
See, any thoughts on their union, Zack and Bliss?
They look locked in. I think the difference between this situation and what happened before with the other second choice, I'm talking about the black
Ayana and Jarrett.
Yeah, I believe this situation is different because I believe he thought the whole time that Bliss was the better choice. He just thought he didn't deserve Bliss. And I think that was clear. He always seemed like he was torn between who he thought he deserved and who he thought was more similar to him. Not one was better than the other. They were just so different, kind of where he wanted to be and kind of where he's at. And I think with that, I can just see them moving forward, because she wasn't really just a second choice. I think she was a different choice, and hopefully they can kind of have some solace in that. But they seem locked in. I like Zach's new hairstyle. He looked like he put on a little bit of weight, but that good weight, like he looks healthy. They seem like a real married couple, and they seem like they're taking it seriously. But I didn't really have a doubt in my mind, because the way she took this marriage seriously and stood up to her dad and kind of really like loved this man and spoke light into him. She really spoke life into him every time she talked to him. I figured that they were going to be pretty good. So I'm not surprised that they look good to go. And this is a real marriage, you know what I mean? So even if these marriages aren't the best, I mean, it's 1 year down the line, you know what I mean? They got some struggles to go. I know the mass ones don't end, they end a little quicker, but I think people are going to try to stick it out. So
Another point. Sean, what's your thoughts? Zack and Bliss, make it, not make it? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I like them together. They both were glowing. Bliss looked beautiful. And I think, he owned it in saying that, he made a choice, his first choice he made out of fear. And he said that he realized that. And, it seems like he's happy that he got a second shot, because it doesn't always work out that way, right? Sometimes you pass up on something and they, you miss what you miss. So I'm glad she gave him another shot. She made him work for it, but listen, rightfully so, because he did need to regain her trust and, recertify, like, hey, listen, I'm really into you and I really want to be with you, and you're not a second choice. You are my first choice, and I realized I made a mistake. because nobody's perfect, right? And especially thinking about that kind of experiment, to be in that, and you're under pressure and you're thinking all these things. And let's not forget, Bliss was pretty adamant about going after Irina, so that impacted him too. And she did realize and make a better effort at being I guess being more of having more of a sportsmanship attitude about it at the end. But I think it was kind of too little too late, because she had really just come out gunslinging. And I think that could be a lesson. Maybe just let things play out, right? Not be so adamant about what she thought about her, and then just focus and build on the connection that she had with Zack in the pods. But look, we can look back and look forward, but I think ultimately the point is, I think they are a good couple together. I do like them, and they are conquering things despite the odds. And I think I heard, I didn't hear all of it, but I think I heard that they're in a little bit of a better place with the dad. So that's helpful, because it is very hard to be married and you don't have the support of your parents. Like, you don't need them to do everything and be all up underneath you 24/7. No, but if they're not supportive, it does make for a difficult relationship. So I think he has loosened up a little bit, and at the very least, he has the support of his mother-in-law, who is just such a sweet woman. So those are my thoughts.
Appreciate it, Sean. I mean, I'm gonna say it straight. I don't hold much of a flame for them. Can't lie to you. All right, yeah. I don't do second choices. I really don't. I don't like them, and I think these situations are too close. As much as what works against me is that when I see them, they look like they are flourishing. They look like they're flourishing. I won't lie to you, but I'm gonna trust my gut instinct of what I saw on the show, and I'm gonna run with it. And it's fantastic. I appreciate it. I love it. I still believe, it'll be an exception, not a rule, because this type of choosing wasn't even based upon him choosing Bliss second. He didn't choose Bliss second. He got rejected and went to Bliss. Okay, so he actually made a choice and then got rejected by the one he went with, then chose Bliss after. So it's not like he realized the error of his ways. No, his ass got capped and he got sent packing. And then he realized there's another gal I should have chosen. And actually, I should have chosen Bliss rather than choosing Irina, right? So what that is a mistake that you made, and then going back to the other girl. Now, again, personally, I do get it, because the type of experiment this is a bit more different than your everyday life, where if you talk to one girl and you miss it, and then you talk to another girl. I get it. But for me personally, this isn't just I chose Irina and then I realized, no, I chose Irina. I went on a honeymoon. That girl capped my ass and told me she ain't feeling me. She ain't want me. Flirted with my boy Paul, touched him up as well. And then I realized over time that she didn't like me. And then I went to whoever loved me. You know what I mean? Now, someone said, have I ever made a mistake before? Another round, I hear you, baby. I hear you, babe. I appreciate you, baby. I have made mistakes. I have made mistakes. You're absolutely right? But what I ain't done, okay, all right, is chosen someone else, gone with them, got rejected, and then gone for the other girl instead. I just haven't done it. And personally, this is something that's going to always be an earmark of their relationship. The fact that Bliss thought her judgment was better than his, and he chose opposite to her judgment. This is going to come up in other ways in a relationship, personally, for me. I think for me, I look at foundational things and I go to myself, I don't like the way this started. Now, of course, I believe people can course correct, and I do believe that people can turn it around. I do believe that situations can be turned around with absolute great input, counseling, people that are wise in your team and in your corner who can speak on things. I definitely believe it can turn around. But a majority of times, these people don't have those inputs. right? They don't, a majority of the time, they don't have these wise counselors in their corners helping them steer and navigate. Because by all means, after this honeymoon phase is done, because a year is still honeymoon phase, up to like 2 years, you're still in the honeymoon phase. Once that honeymoon is kicked off, now we're going to be left with what we had beforehand. So the issues with her judgmental spirit going to come back up. Okay. The issues of him being a little bit mean, because he likes to be a little bit mean. That's how him and Irina connected. They're going to come back up. Okay. Her assertive energy and choosing assholes, it going to come back up. Okay. And questions around the Irina situation, it going to come back up. Okay. All right. So I'm just saying that these have not fully worked out. It's the early doors now, 1 or 2 years. And it's this is what happened with Karen and our boy, what's his name? Karen and Miles situation. All right. Now, of course, they're much more quieter. They ain't telling us the whole truth, but we know he's also suffering. We know. We see your Insta post now. You're suffering. Okay. Now, the reason why you're suffering is because the foundation was wrong. All right. The foundation was wrong. And so I get it. I hear what everyone's saying. I hear what people are saying in terms of defending him and saying, and saying, oh, look, he, someone put there kindly, they put like he has trauma. Yeah, he does. He does have familiar trauma, but he chose someone else. You get it. He chose someone else in that trauma. And so my thing is this is gonna sound like it's not gonna sound like this is almost gonna be like, my fear for them is that it's gonna be like Bliss is gonna be building him up emotionally, and when he gets healed, does he see her as a partner? That's a question we have to ask now. When she's building him up, doing her Build-A-Bear Boo stuff and trying to build him up, trying to help him overcome his emotional wounds and issues that he has with familia, will that lead to a successful relationship, or will that lead to the Build-A-Bear situation? You know what I mean? That's my question. I know a lot of people are saying that he chose Irina out of fear. It doesn't matter why he chose her. He chose her. Do you see what I'm saying to you? It don't matter why he chose her. He chose her. He made a decision. Why couldn't he see Bliss's first reason why he couldn't see that? Why couldn't he see himself overcoming and overworking these issues, but now he can suddenly see it? What's changed? Let's really deep it. What's changed? He couldn't see himself overcoming her familiar issues. What's changed? Right? He couldn't see himself he couldn't see himself in a place where he might be rejected by the family. What's changed? As for me, nothing's changed. Nothing has told us any new information about what has changed to make him feel the way he does. So what are you saying? You tussling with me?
It's going to be a light tussle. It's 12:30. All I would say is that I think sometimes in isolation, you get a moment to reflect and then you realize what you missed out on. And he had a unique opportunity to revisit what he understood in being with Irina, what he missed out on, right? Because he miscalculated and chose her. I think he always had the doubts in his mind about which direction to go, but he went with Irina out of fear. And he moved in that decision. But then when he had a chance to literally be with her, he was like, wow, this is not what a good relationship would be like. And then when he went back to, to Bliss, and I usually don't agree with people testing people, but she made sure to make it plain that, you're going to have to earn my trust. You're going to have to earn the fact that this is a unique situation. And I think she had some hurt about it too, but I think instead of her pushing it down, which was very smart on her part, she vocalized it so that it wasn't this thing that there was shame and that she pushed down. She made it plain like, hey, listen, I don't like the conditions around which we met. This second go around, I didn't like that. She even told her dad, right? But as they kind of got to know each other and get a chance to be reacquainted, they were able to salvage the relationship. So look, am I bought into the fact that they're going to be together forever? I don't know that. But I do think that as unideal of a situation that it is that Bliss led the charge and handled it correctly. And I think they have a strong shot, especially considering this is a social experiment that this relationship was birthed out of. It's my thought.
I ain't even gonna touch with that, to be honest. I'm not even gonna touch with that. I'm just gonna I'm more saying, listen, that for the rest of you guys, y'all ain't the exception. That's for me. Me personally, the rest of you are not the exception. Right? We're making an exception. I'm not making an exception for Zack. Me personally, I'm not. Right? I'm giving him the same thing that I gave to Irina and Jarrett, right? Because the situation is, regardless of whatever reason why he made his choice, he chose differently and went with it. Didn't turn back because he realized, and that's the thing that people are giving him grace for. He realized Bliss is better. He didn't realize Bliss is better. He got rejected. I think that's just like, we have to keep it as real as it was. He didn't realize Bliss is better. He got rejected several times. Okay, so let's start with a cap. Like, he realized Bliss is better. He didn't realize Bliss is better. What he realized was that he had somebody else who would love him better than Irina's doing, because he got shown by Irina who he chose was the wrong choice. He went where the love was. Now, I'm just gonna be real with you. Men tend to do this a lot, where they realize the safety net that they could have gone for is the right choice. You know what I mean? Like, yo. So for me personally, I'm saying that to avoid future issues in future, because if they now break up in 3-4 years' time, do you know what we're gonna come back to? That very origin point. That very origin point. We're gonna, if we do a breakdown, we're gonna come back to the very beginning of the situation. You know, and we're gonna have to break it down. Someone said that Zack said he chose her out of trauma. Do you know that people choose people? That is not an excuse. We all choose out of trauma. I can cheat because of trauma. You gonna forgive me? You gonna accept that answer? Like, I don't want nobody to be played. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want you guys to be played. So maybe you're new to this channel. If you're new to the channel, I want to break some stuff down for you who are watching here too. I don't want to see you get played for stupidity. Because if somebody tells you there are so many men out there that have trauma, and if they give you an excuse, the reason why I did this because of trauma, and you accept it, I can only say it's going to be more for you. I don't want you to accept that kind of stuff. That's low key. We can't accept that. Look, I'm telling you this now. For us as men, that standard is very high. If a woman tells us she didn't choose us because of trauma, I know Sean might be defending that now, but his ass ain't doing it. His ass ain't going back. Sean, you know your ass ain't going back.
That's cap.
Look, I'm not gonna be diametrically opposed to you on this one. Like I said, you can get a full tussle out of me. Look, all I'm saying is because I got a little bit of a migraine and I got an 8:30 meeting. So with my manager, I don't want to get myself too stressed out before I go to bed. So all I'm saying is that it's not ideal, and you're right. This is not the rule, and we all should not be celebrating this if this were to show up on our doorstep. No. However, despite the circumstances, I think the situation is handled as best as it could be, and it seems like they did the work, and they look like a good couple. Now, what's going to show up? That's going to, no matter what couple it is, no matter if you choose each other as your number one and ride off into the sunset, that year 2, that year 1 is going to be a problem. It's no matter, you're never going to avoid it. Your issues are going to surface. So I don't think that that's going to discount it. It's just going to be what it's going to be. Now, Ayana and Jared crying into that pillow over Mal was highly problematic. Yeah, nobody should be crying into that pillow and then going right to choosing the next person, because you haven't had time to resolve the feelings. But from everything we saw with Irina and Zack, there was never really a connection. And I think he had the harsh reality of that when they got to the honeymoon, and she barely wanted to do that, but she thought she was doing him a favor. And then he saw, sometimes it takes you a split second. There was really no connection between the two of them. It wasn't like they were in love. Him and Bliss had a much better connection, and he realized in that matter of those days, like, oh, shucks, I'm sitting here with this lady who's treating me like crap. We really don't have anything. And I passed up on this great woman over here who really was riding for me. And then, he went back. Now, are they going to ride off into the sunset? I don't know. But I think they have a strong chance. Both of them are very smart people in the sense of, being calculating. That's all.
Yeah, Kojo, I think your argument, and they're saying in the comments, is more for Kwame and Chelsea. Because I think in that situation, his ideal woman was in many ways Micah. I'm not saying 100% Micah. I'm not saying that Chelsea doesn't have traits that he likes, that he thinks vibes with him. But at the end of the day, his dream girl, the girl he really wanted, the one that he was crying over, was Micah. And I think that's when you're really a true second choice like Chelsea is, you're never going to be the woman that he really kind of wants. And with him, their marriage is only going to last as long as they can fetishize each other. Outside of that, I don't think either one of them are their number one choice. But going back to Bliss and Zack, if they don't work out, it will only be because, I shouldn't say it will only be because, but if it's related to who he chose, it will be because he hasn't truly dealt with the person that felt safe enough and felt safer to choose Irina over Bliss. It's not actually Bliss. And in those other cases, it was actually Ayanna that he really didn't want as much. It's actually Chelsea that he didn't want as much. With Zack and Bliss, I think he actually wanted Bliss more in many ways. He was just scared that her parents were going to like him, or he wasn't going to be good enough, or she wasn't going to like him in the end. So I just think it's not one size fits all with this particular situation. I'm not going to say they're going to make it forever. I don't know that about any couple, but I think they have a pretty good, running start. I would apply everything you said, though, to Chelsea and Kwame, because Chelsea is in every way a second choice and will never be the white queen that he wanted. And honestly, she's just doing insert here with any man. So for me, they're the true second, third, fourth choice, not Zack and Bliss.
Can I be real? I'm gonna keep it real again. Because you know what, it is what it is for me, innit? Do you get me? I think people like to defend Bliss because you know what? She's kind of it's giving the same thing as what we had with what's his name from Ready to Love, oh boy, and her what's the saying?
Church lady? The church lady?
Yeah, church lady. It's giving that same energy. Yeah, I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about in the chat the way they're defending Bliss. It's like Bliss can't be second choice. She was second choice. There's no need to politic it. She was second choice. No matter how much he cried, okay, all right, because people can cry for all types of reasons. Just because he cried when he's making his choice means dead all. Niggas be crying and cheating on your ass. And I understand. Listen, tears don't mean wheat. They don't mean anything. Him crying, him making a choice means absolutely no. Doo-doo means nothing. It does not give it any more encouragement. Yes, Sean.
Now, you wasn't saying that because we had whole videos from you about why it was a bad sign that Jared was crying into that pillow over Mal. So yes,
that's not what I mean. What I mean is that doesn't prove that he actually wanted Bliss more. It doesn't prove anything. He wanted her more.
That's not what we're saying about the tears with Zack. What we're saying is the fact that he was crying means that he had an emotional connection with her, and I think that's what I see. Is he had a true emotional connection with her, but he went with the safest choice because it was lighter with Irina. And being with Bliss means he had to face his biggest fears of not being enough. So, but he really had a true connection. And that's why he cried when he had to end it, because he was still so conflicted about the choice that he made. So there were genuine feelings there. And then it was only confirmed that when he saw her, they connected. He saw how shallow she was. He saw how mean she was. Then it's like, I did all of this for nothing. right? Because I made a bad choice and now I'm faced with this person that doesn't even like me. I don't have the connection that I had with Bliss. So we're going to part ways and let me see if I can resurrect what I had with Bliss. And that was he took it was a crapshoot, right? So he took the risk. Bliss was open and they moved on. So I think it's like it's not as black and white as he didn't choose her first, so yeah, they're doomed. I think yes, that is something to be concerned about, but I think like at the end of the day, they're flummoxing through life. So I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. That's all I'm saying.
I think if this was two black folk, they would not get the same benefit of the doubt. They would
I
never
agree.
get the same doubt. Never.
I
Never you
agree.
get the same doubt.
Well, Bliss is blackish.
That's why they say that's why they're saying she's a choice, because she represents some people. That's what I'm trying to say. They would never give this opportunity. I'm just trying to be a realist and saying if it fails, we're gonna come back to this very point. It like I feel, and it's the same conversation we're having with Karen and Miles. It's like people want to fantasize things, but when you're seeing these red flags in the very beginning, unless you have considerable input. And that's my thing. It's not about the first few years. Okay, you might even get through because you've got the honeymoon phase in between that. But unless you have considerable wise input that are affecting both of you, that are speaking right into your lives on a constant basis, that are helping you, guiding you on that way, those things that were not dealt with in the very beginning, as the reason why you made the choice that you made, are gonna start coming through. Do you know what I'm saying? So as much as we're trying to gloss it by saying he cried and then made a choice, but he made a choice. Oh, he had trauma. Look at the excuses we're making. He cried and made a choice. So he must really like Bliss. Oh, we had trauma. So that's why he chose Irina. Oh, but no, because he was scared of her family. So he chose Irina. All of these are excuses. But that's your reason what he actually said to us. What he said was he didn't like the way that Bliss actually approached him. He didn't like the fact that Bliss actually spoke to him and said about him making a choice the way he did. Has that changed in Bliss? Has that gone out the window? Has that behavior changed in Bliss, sir? Right? It's still going to be there. So I'm saying to you that, listen, hey, we can dress it up as much as you want to dress it up. You can make it look nice as you want to make it look nice. You can make all the excuses which we're making for him, right, in this situation as much as we want. But the reality is, like I said, I don't like the foundation of it being the way it is. And unless they have considerable input of wise counsel, this is going to bend and they're going to break some backs. You know what I mean? But hey, what do I know? Because Zack definitely made a mistake, and men make mistakes all the time. But suddenly we're so forgiven of men. But when we are on these panels every week, we have one mistake from one man. He's a narcissist. But hey, who am I? Because it's Zack. But maybe because he's your white daddy today, y'all want to defend him. Just saying. I'm just saying. Because when it's us black folk, y'all don't give us that grace.
You don't think you're reaching with this one?
He just 1 second, real quick, Seaway, and then I'm gonna let you go because I want to clear this up because you and I had a good conversation about her race. First of all, I'm gonna get on my Cynthia G. I'm gonna post it. Y'all need to understand race and ethnicity, okay? Cynthia. Bliss's mother is Mexican and black, and her daddy is Middle Eastern. There ain't no white in there. So if she close to anything, she blackish. I didn't say she was full on black.
Not Bliss.
Blackish, okay? So I just want us to we gotta, call it what it is. I don't even hear a bit of European mixed in there. It's she blackish, okay? So that's that. I'm sorry, Seaway.
No, I'm glad you clarified that. So I'm assuming, Kojo, that you think that we're giving Zack a pass because he's a white man, but we didn't give Jared a pass last year. Is that what you're saying, or 2 years ago?
I'm saying it encompasses it all, because we're very hard on when black men. If a black man did this, I believe that we would not be saying what we're saying right now. I believe we wouldn't. I believe we would have some issues with him making the choice that he made.
I don't know. I think a lot of us go off of our gut. And for me, I always go with what my heart tells me and my intuition. And so I can't speak for everyone. And you always do have to check your internal bias with everything we do, right? Because we all have that. I don't want to discredit that perspective, because I think we all do have that internal bias, even Black people. But for me, I feel like a lot of people believe in this couple because it feels right. We all know when we see something that feels right. It may not feel perfect, but it feels right. And even I don't know. I personally agree with Irina. As soon as she pulled out that door, that felt completely wrong. And honestly, it felt wrong for me in the pods. And I think Zack knew that as well.
That's
So, like I said before, I